Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast we run over here on youtube.com/UC Campbell. And, well, it is that time once again because it is predictions time. It is a special episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle. We did do a NXT TakeOver Chicago predictions video earlier today, and it is up on the page now. If you want to go check that out, it is over there. But this one is going to be for Money in the Bank. Yes, Money in the Bank is going to be Sunday, and it is now time for predictions for that. And let's go ahead and start off with the kickoff show. I initially had this a little bit later, but now since it's on the kickoff show, we're going to start off with it. It's going to be the Bludgeon Brothers going up against Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Club, and there's not much really to say about this, especially since the fact they put this on the kickoff show. It's been a long time since they've had a title change happen on the kickoff show, and I don't see it happening here. I will go with the Bludgeon Brothers on this one. Not much really to talk about. Up next is going to be Bobby Lashley going up against Sami Zayn. This has the potential of being a good match. The build has not been great. We'll leave it at that. The Bobby Lashley sister segment just reminded me too much of the Bailey This Is Your Life segment from last year. Good job. No. But like I said, in the terms of match quality, I feel like this has a good chance of being something pretty good because both of these guys are very good in the ring. And they're a lot better storytellers than what most people would probably imagine would be right now. But I don't imagine them going too much further with this story down the line here. So I would imagine they're going to get Bobby Lashley away from Sami Zayn, and they're going to put Bobby Lashley over in this match. So I am going with Bobby Lashley. Just for reference, I might take a few more water breaks here because I have not been feeling great recently. And yeah, well, there you go. There we go. That's better. Had to clear my throat a little bit. Haven't been feeling great recently, so you might catch me doing a few more water breaks doing this a little bit, doing this now. So, up next, we are going to have Roman Reigns going up against Jinder Mahal. Is there much I really have to say about this? Is there? Do I? Do I want to? I don't want to. Roman Reigns is winning. At least that's how I feel. It would be interesting if they had Jinder Mahal win and see where they would decide to go with Roman Reigns and or Jinder Mahal afterwards, but I don't imagine them doing much with this, so I'm just going to go Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wins. It's the new Cena wins law. It's Roman Reigns wins law. With the exception of him going up against Brock Lesnar. Interesting. But yeah, Roman Reigns is going to win this one. At least I feel like he's going to. Up next we have Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. I'm almost shocked that they are doing this yet again, but I don't feel like they're going to continue on with this feud much longer. I'm just going to go with Daniel Bryan in this one. I guess they could try to get one more pay-per-view out of this and maybe have Big Cass win this one, but I don't really see much of a point of it. The storyline's kind of souring and a little bit stale to this point between the two of them, especially with the fact that it's just being completely reaffirmed at all areas that you know, Big Cass is much taller than Daniel Bryan. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Big Cass's delivery is a lot better than what it used to be in the terms of delivering a promo. I think he's doing good with what he's been given. It's just not been much in that sense of the word in the terms of the promos. Daniel Bryan's been fantastic with what he's been given as well. But I would not imagine them putting Big Cass over Daniel Bryan in this case, in this side of everything, because that would just mean the story's going to continue. I don't think they're going to down the line here. So I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan, and we'll just kind of leave it at that. Up next, we have the Intercontinental title match. Not Daniel Bryan, but Seth Rollins going up against Elias. And oddly enough, I'm going Elias on this one. That's right. I feel like they're going to put this title on Elias, though I don't feel like it would be the best move for the Intercontinental title to have it on Elias at this point in time. I see Elias picking up the victory here, just based off of how they've been going around with everything recently, and I just feel like a title change is coming. I know Seth hasn't had the title that long, but he's been doing a lot with it, so I would imagine they are going to they're going to go that route with it at this point in time and see with Elias. So I'm kind of going out on a limb here for some of these, and I feel like Elias is definitely going to be going out on a limb, especially for some of these next matches coming up. This one, not so much. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of perplexed on this one. So next match we have the SmackDown Women's title, Asuka going up against Carmella. I'm a little bit perplexed with this one. I feel like they should just put the title on Asuka, but they did just get this title on Carmella as well. And do they really want a short run for Carmella being the first ever women's Money in the Bank contract cash in? Now, don't get me wrong, the first Money in the Bank cash in with Edge was not a long reign either. And I feel like that's kind of be the case here, that Carmella has something for down the line, but I feel like Asuka's going to pick up the victory. I don't know whether it's going to be by DQ and Carmella keeps the title so they keep the feud going, or if she picks up the title here, but I'm going with Asuka on this particular match. Up next, we are going to have Nia Jax going up against Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's title. And again, this is another one that could be some interesting things of where they're going with it. It's interesting that they have Nia Jax kind of flip-flopping from that babyface who was like all against bullies and everything like that to I'm a bully again, essentially. And Nia kind of not Nia, but Nia kind of just toying around with her opponents a little bit, being more heelish. This is one of those that I feel like they could have done more out of respect and everything on that one, but they decided not to go that case. Ronda kind of, trying to defend the people that she's going up against a little bit. The writing for this one has been a little bit lackluster. Okay, a lot lackluster on this one. But I feel like the match itself could be something. They've had time to kind of go through everything here, and for Ronda to have some more training to do a one-on-one match. It's interesting that they have her in a title match so quickly, but I can also see why they want to get her on this pay-per-view in the terms of a one-on-one side. And again, I'm actually gonna go with Ronda on this one. I feel like they could have Nia win this one through nefarious means. Matter of fact, both the women's title matches I have pretty much going with nefarious means at this point in time, in some way, shape, or form. But I feel like they're gonna give the match to Ronda in some way, shape, or form. Though I could see them giving it to Nia as well. And there's some interesting scenarios that could play out if they decided to do that. So let's roll right into it with both of the Money in the Bank ladder matches. So let's start with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You have Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, Alexa Bliss. Let me think here. I'm now spacing on everything. I am spacing on everybody right now in both the Money in the Bank ladder matches. This is what happens when you get sick, people. You start messing up. So let's actually pull that up here. I'm spacing, and as soon as I see who it is, I'm going to be like, oh, why did I forget them? Okay. So Raw side. Oh, there you go. That would be one of the scenarios that you could play with Ronda Rousey later. So you have on Raw side Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, Alexa Bliss, Natalya. Then you have Charlotte, Lana. You have Naomi and Becky Lynch. This is the one that I feel like is going to go to Raw. I feel like the women's Money in the Bank match is going to go to Raw on this one, though I could see Becky Lynch winning it, but I'm not going to pick Becky Lynch in this sense of everything. The one I'm picking in this match is going to be the lone heel in this match. Yeah, that's right. I'm taking Alexa Bliss on this one. I feel like she would be one of the better ones that could play around with a Money in the Bank contract. And in the terms of outside of her winning her qualifying match, she really hasn't stood tall like many of the other ones. You can even kind of throw Charlotte into that sense as well. Outside of winning her Money in the Bank match, she really hasn't stood tall either in her particular matches. But I am definitely going with Alexa Bliss on this one. I was a little bit torn on it, but as soon as I kind of determined which one I wanted for Raw and which one I wanted for SmackDown, it was kind of a little bit easier. And when I decided on the men's Money in the Bank that I'd be picking a SmackDown person on that one, then it was like, okay, I'm picking a Raw person for the women's Money in the Bank, and Alexa Bliss felt like the best choice at this point in time. So let's roll right into it with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You have all three members of the New Day. We don't really know who it's going to be yet. You have, and this is on SmackDown side. So you have New Day, Miz, you have Samoa Joe, and you have Rusev. That would be so crazy if Rusev won, but I'm not having him win. Raw side, you have Finn Balor, you have Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Roode. And like I said, this one I'm pretty much picking on SmackDown, so I'm kind of taking all the Raw guys out of the equation in terms of picking them. I can imagine Braun Strowman and any of those guys doing some pretty crazy spots in there. Especially, there's one spot we want in the women's Money in the Bank, and I hope we get to see that from Ember Moon. If you don't know what... if you don't really get what I'm saying there's a spot that she did back in her independent days off of a ladder that we would love to see in this particular match. Just saying. If they can work it in there. But for the men's Money in the Bank, I was very tempted to just go with the Miz on this one. Dangling the carrot of the whole thing, especially if Daniel Bryan decides to re-sign with the WWE down the line here for a longer period of time. The whole thing with the Miz, Daniel Bryan potentially cashing in on Daniel Bryan, everything on that sense to kind of get their feud going is very enticing. But I'm not going to go with Miz. As much as I would love to see Rusev win, Rusev's not winning. Give him the U.S. title later. That's fine. That's fine on that one. Give him the U.S. title at a later time. That's good. But, and I'm not going with Samoa Joe, though Samoa Joe would be a great way of going as well. He could be that heel that just says, I'm not going to opportunistically cash in. I'm just going to, like, here's my cash-in date. There you go. He could be that heel that could do that. But I don't think it's going to be them either. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I've kind of gone out on a limb on both of these. I'm going to go with the New Day. It would just be, out of all the scenarios I've been looking at so far, in the terms of potentially freebirding it, or whatever they decide to do with it at that point in time, leaves for more enticing, intriguing ways of going into these particular cash-in attempts. And I just see it being a lot more fun with the New Day with this, especially since we got a heel on Raw with the women's Money in the Bank, at least in my mind. I'm going with a babyface side, and won't necessarily be full comedy, but it would be entertaining to see that one week Kofi decides to try to cash in the Money in the Bank. Then Big E tries to do it. They fail on those attempts, but it happens like that. You don't know which member of the New Day is going to cash in, and you don't know when they're going to cash in. It would be a nice way of going, and it would be an interesting little twist of where they would want to go with it. But we'll see how that one ends up going. I am going with the New Day. So this brings me to the final match. I don't know if this will main event tonight. In the terms of name power, I feel like the Ronda Nia Jax match is probably the bigger match. I don't know. But I feel like it could main event tonight. Probably should main event tonight. And it's going to be AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura going with the WWE title on the line in a last man standing match. A lot of people are tailor making this to be a prime cash-in opportunity for whomever wins the men's Money in the Bank. That's a possibility. I'm not picking that. I'm going to be very straight up with this one. I feel like they're going to continue on with the feud a little bit longer in the terms of the AJ Shinsuke Nakamura feud, which means Shinsuke's winning, at least in my mind. Shinsuke's winning this match and winning the WWE title finally, unless if they decide to completely end the feud after this match. Then I can see AJ winning at that point, but at this point in time, I see them wanting to do more with it and going a little bit further along with this particular feud. So I am going with Shinsuke Nakamura being the WWE champion and winning this last man standing match here at Money in the Bank. They could attempt to have a cash in that night as well if they really wanted to go with it. Like I said, a lot of people have this being like a tailor made for a cash in, which means I feel like they shouldn't go for it, but they can. They definitely can if they want. But we'll see how everything ends up playing out at Money in the Bank. And that's pretty much it that I have for Money in the Bank here. So those were my predictions for this year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed everything. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care and have a good one.